How very WrestleMania of you and your repost. Welcome in. Yes, indeed. Another RipNRiff here on the RipNRiff YouTube channel. Just saw the little alert as I was about to go, so I had to comment on it. Here we go. RipNRiff. Watch your tables if you're not watching the show because Jared's coming. I am at Pucking Thoughts. That over there is at Mr. Jared Moore. I mean, I know we do the whole it's a great time of the year sports thing, but like, listen, Stanley Cup playoffs this weekend, NBA playoffs this weekend. NFL draft, we're right there. And of course, you got WrestleMania this year, this weekend as well. Baseball in full swing. It's a good week. This is a good weekend in April.
It is. I mean, if I could be a little nitpicky, I kind of wish the Devils didn't get the Houston Texans AFC South treatment of having their game 1 at 3 p.m. on Easter Sunday. That's a little rough, especially if, look, I don't really do a lot of stuff with family. So, like, for me, it's like, whatever, I'll just watch the game. But for people like normal people who actually have loved ones and stuff like that, or actually do stuff on Easter Sunday, yeah, that's a little rough there. 3 p.m. on Easter Sunday. Here's Devils Hurricanes live from Raleigh, North Carolina.
And then for the nightcap, you get the Battle of Ontario, which if Easter Sunday is about bringing family together, that's certainly going to be the polar opposite because that is going to be a physical, fun series with those two. But we'll talk Stanley Cup playoffs. We're not going to go through every series, but we'll dive into a couple here and there. We will talk Devils Hurricanes. Of course, Jared, big wrestling guy, going to do some WrestleMania discussion as well. Why don't we get into the packs we got today? Well, let's not waste any time. So, of course, Stanley Cup playoffs. I got a few series 1 packs here. We'll get through 1, maybe 2 of those. NFL draft next week. We'll do more football next week. But I had an old school pack of 88 Topps football, and there is gum in here. We'll see. Maybe I'll put it in my mouth, although maybe I don't want to have to deal with dental work. So we'll take a look there. And then, Jared, you got a couple different wrestling packs we're going to bring to the table.
Yeah. Hey, don't put the gum in your mouth. That's gross. You definitely don't do that. But yeah, I got 3 packs of WWE cards here. I got a pack of Topps cards from 2011. It says look for WWE Hall of Fame cards, so we'll see if there's anything like that in this pack. If you can pull a Hall of Famer, that'd be pretty cool. And then a couple packs of the Topps Chrome 2025 cards, and I love the Chrome cards. I believe this is their first year back with Topps because WWE had a deal with Panini, so. The last time we did WWE cards on the show, I think it was like the Panini Prisms and stuff like that they had. So we got the couple of packs of the 2025 Topps cards here, and I don't want to put you on the spot, because we have obviously the two packs here.
Yes.
But I will, I'll put you on the spot here. Screw it. Let's do that. Over under 1.5. Can you name the people on these packs? There's 7 people.
1.5 is close. I'm gonna say over, but by the hook.
All right. Who can you give me?
Oh, on the front of the packs, or we got
on the cover. Reigns. Yeah, on the cover of the packs.
So Roman Reigns, because he looks like Robert Trujillo from Metallica. I mean, those two could literally swap places, and I don't know if people would really recognize besides the body art. And then let's see, is that Brock Lesnar? No.
You got Roman Reigns, so I was impressed by that.
Oh, what the hell's his name? I've seen his name all the time now. It's not Cody Rhodes.
There you go. You got the over. 2. You got 2 out of the 7. The other ones we have Alexa Bliss, we have Randy Orton on this pack, and
Randy
on
Orton,
this pack
him.
We have Roxanne Perez, Bianca Belair, and the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther.
Okay, I mean, so I'm actually we're off to a good start. If I did that, I was pressure was on, and I delivered.
You delivered. You came through. I'm very very pleased by that.
Now, do we have an official Rip and Rant? Because I know that it kind of was wishy-washy there. Are we Rip and Ranting today on your end?
Sure. I mean, it'll be quick on my end, but we could definitely do that.
All right, let's get it underway then. It's time to kick things off on Rip and Riff with
my Rip and Rant.
Thanks, Dave. Take it away, Mr. Moore.
Well, you get up on this nice Thursday morning and, you enjoy like your morning bagel and, you're getting set up for the day. You're going through, emails, getting caught up and everything from last night. Check social media and I see the one tweet that I hate seeing every few weeks. Aaron Rodgers will be joining Pat McAfee today. And it's like, oh, God, really? Again, a week before the NFL draft. Nobody's talked about Aaron Rodgers for a couple weeks. We still don't know where he's going to wind up playing next year. It's pretty obvious at this point he's going to wait till after the draft to sign somewhere. But I hope all these teams just say, like, no, we don't want to deal with this guy because it's just infuriating. Like every couple weeks, like the guy's got to be the center of attention. He's got to he's he's like, oh, there's too many distractions, and then a lot of the distractions are caused by him by going on Pat McAfee every week, and everything he says is a headline. And you got a few uncertain quarterback situations around the league. I think everyone assumes he's going to wind up in Pittsburgh, but it still hasn't happened yet, which raises the question: why is he just waiting to make sure they don't draft a rookie quarterback before they bring him in? And it's like, well, if he doesn't want to do that, does he want to deal with Minnesota? Would he go to New Orleans with Derek Carr dealing with an injury? Like, would the Saints take a quarterback at 9? I mean, at this point, I guess he's just waiting until the dust settles with the draft to kind of pick like whatever the best spot is for him. But like at this point, I just hope all these teams are just like, yeah, we're out of the Aaron Rodgers business. Like it'd be one thing if this was like 5 years ago, he was still winning MVPs and he was still that caliber level of player. But to go through all these hoops and bells and whistles for a 41-year-old who was the 25th best quarterback in the NFL last year, it doesn't really seem worth the time or energy invested in it.
So I'll comment on a couple of things there. I think he's waiting to see where Shedeur Sanders goes because the Saints and the Steelers are two of the biggest ones. So whoever's left between that, if they still want to deal with Rodgers, great. Otherwise, maybe the Vikings are his like plan B because they could go into the season with JJ McCarthy as their starter, but I also don't, he might benefit from a year. I don't know with Rodgers there, but either way, I agree. It's like, oh, we haven't heard his name in the news a while. Got to do something to change that. Got to get back. You got to get back in the forefront. But the thing he does have going for him, and this wouldn't work out coming off of any other team, but he did spend the past couple of years with the Jets. And as we've seen, the Jets have a history and a track record of, oh, a guy stinks there and then he goes somewhere else. I get that he's old. I get that it's more that he's in his 40s now in terms of the decline of his play, because one of the things he used to rely on is he's not a fast, straight line quarterback, but he used to be able to shuffle, move around the pocket, buy himself extra time to make those Rodgers-esque plays. He doesn't have that ability anymore.
No, he can't do that.
But he's coming from the Jets, so there is somebody that's going to say, well, maybe it was just the Jets. Maybe it was just the environment. Because that does, like, Geno Smith, Sam Darnold. You know what I mean? Like, so he has that in his favor, if nothing else. So I don't know if he's willing to go to a team like New Orleans because, like, you're not going to the playoffs there. You're just playing your 17 games. Steelers, obviously, there's a little more appeal there. But I don't know. Yeah, just like let's either get you on a team or just we're done with it. One or the other.
Yeah, I'm done talking about Rodgers. Like at this point, he's going to do whatever he does. Hopefully, I just hope that the rest of the league just tells him to pound sand.
Now, let's shift gears from something that we're not a fan of to listen, we'll talk Total Hockey Now later on today at 5:00. We'll be talking some playoff preview here. I do want to just commend the Minnesota Wild. We all know Marc-Andre Fleury's been on his farewell tour. Teams are lining up to shake hands with him after the game when they know it's his last time through or their last time seeing them. The other night when they got their point to go to overtime against Anaheim, which clinched that spot for him, so there was nothing to gain. St. Louis couldn't pass him or anything. They decided to let Marc-Andre Fleury play the overtime. And hey, depending upon how things go in the Vegas series, that's probably the last time we'll ever see him take a shot. But it was really like, hey, they recognize the situation. Doesn't matter what happens. Doesn't matter that we're putting a goalie out there cold. And they still go and get the win anyway in overtime. So kudos to John Hines for just giving the Marc-Andre Fleury farewell tour a nice ending if it does indeed end against the Vegas Golden Knights here in the first round.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I mean, I don't know how far I go in terms of calling Marc-Andre Fleury a legend I mean, like, he's been around forever. He's won a bunch of championships. I mean, he had that stretch in his career where he really wasn't very good. Especially in the playoffs where like you're like, can he really win with this guy? And obviously they won a lot with that guy. And he won the 3 championships, he won the Vezina and all that sort of stuff. And he's carved out a Hall of Fame career for himself. But yeah, it was cool to see like him get like that legendary treatment the other night. And I don't know what's going to happen with the Wild. I don't really care about that series. I guess I'll root for the Wild just because it's easy to root against the Golden Knights. But it'll be a lot of fun to see.
A healthy Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek definitely changes the dynamic of that series a little bit. I will say, like maybe not, using the term legend for Fleury. I think his off-ice persona, the fact that he is have you ever heard anybody say a bad word about Fleury? Like, oh, that guy's a prick. He's a bad teammate. Like, he is like beloved whatever team he plays for. So that definitely plays into it too. To be able to play that long, and like you said, there was a period where he was a top-notch goaltender. I just think take the whole thing, and he's one of the game is going to miss him. It'll be. There'll be somebody else, but Fleury leaving. I hope he does TV somewhere because I bet he'd be great at that.
He'll probably do TV somewhere. I don't know where he's going to wind up, but I'm sure that option will be open to him if he wants it.
We're talking hockey. Let's get to some hockey pack ripping here. I've got 3 of these available to me. Do we want to do Huey, Dewey, or Louie?
I mean, I don't think it really matters. You just pick one.
That's why I'm asking. Pick one. Huey, Dewey, or Louie?
Huey.
Thank you. Play the game, Jared. Play the game.
No.
Now, that Vegas Minnesota series is probably the equivalent of the Hurricanes Devils in terms of sex appeal in the other conference. But what's one series outside of the Devils? Because obviously that's the one you're going to pay attention to most. What is one that you're like, that's one I'm going to try and tune in every night? I know the easy answer is Stars Avalanche, but what else you got there?
Well, that's the easy answer because it's the correct answer. Stars Avalanche could be a Western Conference final, and probably would be if the NHL didn't have this dopey NHL playoff format that they insist on doing for a bracket challenge that nobody cares about. But I like that one, and Florida Tampa would be the other one. Just Florida has kind of sputtered going into the playoffs, but they're going to have everybody healthy for them. I don't think it really matters how much Florida sputtered going into the playoffs because they know what they have, and they got a lot of players who have been through the grind before, and they're getting all of them back, including like Matthew Tkachuk, who's a big-time playoff player himself. So I think I'll take Florida to win that series, but I'm very curious to see how that one plays out.
I think
you could argue Tampa's better.
I think that's probably the closest series in the first round because, yes, Florida sputtered down the stretch, but Bennett's been hurt. Kachuk's been hurt. They get working Marchand into the lineup. Is this just because, they didn't really have their full roster? Or is this maybe following a 7-game Stanley Cup run last year, a Stanley Cup final appearance year before? Sometimes cumulatively, all those deep playoff runs can sometimes add up. So that could be at play here, too. Pavel Mintyukov not going to the playoffs for the Ducks. Still a nice looking card there. They actually, the way they played over the last month of the season, it's like, they might be a team that might be, if they do the right things in the offseason, Lucas Dostal could potentially take another step next year. They might be in good shape. Here we go. Guy going to the playoffs for the first time in his career, Jeff Skinner.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, Jeff Skinner has always rubbed me as a offense first, no defense, soft skill type of player. So I'll be very curious to see how he is in a playoff setting. But he's also not really a star player. He's more of a secondary complimentary piece on that Oilers team. So we'll see how that plays out.
All right. So we got Nicholas Waugh from the Golden Knights, also Ivan Barbashev, couple of important middle 6 players for that team. We'll see how that series goes. I mean, kudos to Mark Stone for not having to use long-term IR this year. He actually made it through the season.
Yeah, shout out to him for managing to stay healthy for the most part over the course of the 82-game season. I know he dealt with something early in the year, so
good for him. We got Wilder playing the Golden Knights. There's Brock Faber. Maybe not as strong as a season as his rookie season, but still playing pretty well for them and an important part of that blue line. You have a Devils Young Guns card here. Tell me a little bit about Graham Clark, right winger.
Well, he's no longer in the organization, so there's that. He got traded. He was one of their young wingers. They took him in like the third round a couple years ago, and he was a guy who would always get like a game here or there whenever like somebody would get injured. He'd be the injury call up, and he'd never actually do anything in the games, and they would just send him back down. And they traded him before this past season for to the Wild for Adam Beckman, who I think they wound up flipping at the deadline this year for Dennis Cholowski. So there's that. So they turned Graham Clark into a pretty bad eighth defenseman.
There you have it. The most time spent on social media talking about Graham Clark anywhere in the history of social media. Try and find something longer than that.
And Dennis Cholowski. Don't forget about him. Nobody's talked about him this much since the Seattle expansion draft.
He's a good 7th, 8th defenseman. That's what he does. We mentioned the Battle of Ontario earlier. Ridley Gregg, Ottawa having swept that season series. I know it's a popular upset pick, but it would be total Leafs to win the division. You know, you don't have Boston in your way. And then you get Ottawa, who, you know, listen, they've got nothing to lose. They are, you know, the quote unquote 7 seed, top wild card seed. There's real upset potential there. I mean, it would be typical Leafs to lose that series.
The funniest result by far would be the Leafs losing to the Ottawa Senators. Because you're losing to the junior team in your market. It's not really the same market, but Toronto, Ottawa is close enough.
Big brother, little brother.
Right. It's the little brother thing. It's you know, it's like the Rangers losing to the Devils or the Kings if they lost to the Ducks or whatever. It's kind of the same thing. So, I mean, that would by far be the funniest result. It's like, all right, we changed the coach. We've changed half the roster yet again, and we still can't get out of the first round. It would be insanely funny.
But we get a division banner next year to raise on opening night, so a consolation prize.
Yeah, and by the way, congratulations on paying Mitch Marner $13 million this summer. I'm sure that'll work out great.
I think he's gone. I want that to be the Sharks' first big splash, like to step into the next competitive window. I
have no idea where he's going to wind up. If I had to guess, I think Marner stays, and they'll let Tavares walk.
Brock Besser, another interesting winger that'll be out there too. Now, a winger that's got a whole lot to play for, Mr. Alex Ovechkin. We always want to get a little OV base card. So how about that? I don't got to spend $5 a base card for that one. Diamond baseball cards.
Yeah, Diamond, suck it, man. Yeah, it's pretty cool to get the OV base card there. And now he's got the record. Now we don't have to do the ovometer anymore and all that wonderful stuff. And we'll see if he can add one more Stanley Cup championship to the ledger before it's all said and done. He said he's not retiring, by the way. They asked him about the because they're playing the Penguins tonight in Game 82, and I guess they asked him about going up against Crosby like one last time, and he's basically like, "Well, I'm not retiring, so take that for what it's worth." He's probably going to at least play out the final year of his contract next year, which
I mean, you got to break 900.
We all expected.
You got to break 900 goals. You're that close. You need to get it into that level, and then we'll see where it goes from there. A couple more cards in this pack, and I'll probably do a second one quick. So we got Pierre-Luc Dubois, who's shown as the Kings there, but now a current teammate of Ovechkin. He's had a nice bounce-back campaign considering his previous couple of seasons. And the Kings are going to be taking on the Edmonton Oilers in the first round. There's Stuart Skinner. The Oilers have beaten the Kings 3 straight years in the first round. They're somehow series favorites here. I get it with McDavid, Draisaitl, all that stuff, but the Kings are a terrible matchup for the Oilers. I think the Kings are going to win this series.
If the Kings don't beat the Oilers this year, they're never going to beat the Oilers. Like, I think the stars have kind of aligned for LA in that sense. Yeah, they're best home team in the league. You mentioned the matchup itself. I think the Kings have built a team like designed to beat the Oilers, if that makes sense. And I mean, obviously they haven't been able to get over the hump the last 2 years. We'll see if they're able to do it this time. But like, if they can't do it now, is it ever going to happen? And like, I'm not saying you tear it down and you rebuild just because you can't get past like one specific team, but I think you do kind of have to reevaluate everything you're doing if you manage to find a way to lose to them again.
So here's the other thing that, and hopefully Quentin Byfield is ready to go for this series because he has been an absolutely, he's been on fire for the Kings the last couple of months. He's developing into exactly the player they took. So him getting cross-checked in the back of the head by Darnell Nurse, which, by the way, is a punk bitch move, and he might get added to the punk bitch list on Total Hockey Now because you know better, Darnell. You don't cross. I understand there are scores to settle, and you got to send a message, but cross-checking somebody in the back of the neck when they're about this far from the ice, you're a bitch. Take your $9 million and shove it.
Is that a regular segment, the punk ass bitch list?
For me, I'll say it. You're a fucking bitch for doing
it. Is that a regular segment you guys do, the punk ass bitch list?
I don't. It's not a regular segment, but like Connor Zary when he sucker punched to get back at somebody, and then there was some, and then Jalen Chatfield with the leg sweep. Like, no, if you do stuff like that, where it's like you're gonna fight somebody, man up on them, punch them in the face, get face to face. When you do like stuff like that, it's like, or when you hit somebody from behind, especially in the head, like, no, that's not okay. Where
would the Paul Cotter hit on Adam Pelech rank on?
Yeah, that's up there too. I probably should have added him in that list, but you know, that slipped my mind. We'll see if he gets on there. But yeah, Darnell Nurse, like, no, bro, you know better. I'm sorry, like you can't do that. We got Elias Pettersson, glossy parallel here, and then finally, which this card would be cool, and you might want it. Here is a City Satellites, Jack Hughes. The only problem is, you can clearly tell the city is New York and not Newark behind it. That is the 5 boroughs. There's Manhattan. There's Brooklyn. There's Queens. You get a little bit of Long Island, no Staten Island. You get a little shred of Jersey on the left there.
Oh man, this is great. Yeah, I mean that's really more like Long Island than anything. Yeah, it's Brooklyn and Queens, and I guess I forget if the first county there is Nassau or Suffolk, but
Nassau. That should be a Bo Horvat card. That should not be a Jack Hughes card.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty bad. Like, did they not think when they were pulling up Google Maps for this card to, I don't know, just shift the map over a little bit, or are they like, you know what? I don't think Elizabeth, New Jersey is going to show up really well on this card.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's not like we're doing like cityscapes here where it's like, oh, New York has a prettier skyline than like Newark. Okay, fine. But just like you said, it's a Google map view. Like, what are we doing? Like,
I mean, like, you got Hoboken and Jersey City there, and that's where like the majority of the Devils players live, is in Hoboken and Jersey City. Like, I'm sure Jack and Luke are probably still sharing an apartment in Hoboken and enjoying the Hoboken nightlife. So
I would hope so.
I guess that's technically accurate. Although who knows how much time Jack's actually spending in Jersey nowadays with him rehabbing from that shoulder surgery. He might be back home in Michigan or something. They mentioned on the broadcast last night that I guess they requested Kenny Albert and Eddie O and who else did the game? Bush. I guess they wanted to try to get Jack on for an interview during one of the, during a segment of the show, and they mentioned he was unavailable. So
good for him. Good for him taking the time.
Yeah, shout out to him. Jack's not very good with the look, I think Jack's a good guy, but he gives very short, like, curt answers with the media, which I love. I think it's really funny, but I don't think that necessarily works well on television.
So he's a part of the Bill Belichick All-Stars, basically. Like, Bill Belichick would take him on his team in a heartbeat just for that reason alone.
Oh yeah, they'll ask him about, how was this game-winning goal the other day? And he's like, well, it was good.
It went in the net, looked good, felt good. There it is.
It was good to help my team win.
Yeah. All right, we got one more pack. We'll breeze through quick here, and then we'll get to the WrestleMania preview. We got Jonathan Huberdeau there with the Calgary Flames. They bounce back nice. They fall a little short, but decent season for the Flames. They can't score, but they keep other teams off the scoreboard.
Yeah, that feels very Islanders-esque. So shout out to them for being Canada's Islanders.
That might be a slogan for next year. We got Cole Caulfield there. Shout out Christopher Merez at Fuzzy Chris 91. It's going to be an interesting first round series with the Habs and the Caps.
Because Chris could be very obnoxious on Twitter, I was rooting very hard for the Habs to lose last night's game and to come down to Columbus taking that last spot from them.
I mean, I was rooting for that too. I told him, like, listen, any other year I'd be rooting for you, but like considering everything that happened with Columbus here, like the fact that
it's a much better story. Nobody cares about that. Like outside of Quebec's, nobody cares about the Habs.
No.
I mean, granted, you could argue nobody cares about Columbus either, especially within Columbus. But you understand what I'm trying to say.
Oh, I totally get it. Now, you mentioned the Islanders there. Calgary is the Islanders of Canada. There's Brock Nelson, who's going to be on the Avalanche there in that first round series. He's a big contributor for Colorado.
Yeah, and that's a guy who's going to get. I assume he's going to get paid next year, unless like he decides to take less money to stay with Colorado, which would not be the worst thing in the world because it's a pretty good situation there.
Yeah, I don't mind playing second or third fiddle behind Nate McKinnon there. So it certainly could do a worse. We got Lucas Dostal with the Ducks. I think he'll take a nice big step next year because he led some stretches this year where he looked really good for Anaheim. Let's go back to back with Penguins defenseman here. First up, Chris Letang. And then, now with the Canucks, but was started the season with the Penguins, Marcus Pettersson.
The Canucks are a very funny team. They are very funny the way they operate. And, I kind of killed the Rangers on this show last week for the second they got cap space, they just had to go and turn around and spend it on something. And the Canucks were very much in a similar manner where, all right, they got that first round pick from the Rangers for in the JT Miller trade. It's like, well, we got to go turn around immediately and spend on something because we're trying to win now. So it's like, all right, let's go trade for Marcus Pettersson and extend him. So
I'll say this. The Rangers and Canucks have had very similar seasons in the sense that it was off ice stuff that really, and yes, I understand the performances of guys like Kreider and stuff like that. He fell off a cliff and all that. No disrespect to him. Probably his last game as a Ranger tonight. Also, Sam Rosen's last game, Rangers game tonight, which I'll have to throw that on for a little while later. But their seasons were derailed by locker room stuff, issues with management, all that. So, like, I don't mind that they were kind of trying to look at maybe bouncing back next year. But yeah, like you said, they couldn't handle themselves. They get that cap space. It was like a kid with money. Like, oh, do you want to save that money? No, I'm going to go get ice cream or go to the candy store. Or like us, probably go to a hobby shop and buy a blaster box or something. We got a couple of Kings here. We talked about the Oilers Kings a little while ago. Adrian Kempe, who's been one of their top players all year long. And then a guy who came back midway through the season and still just, playing well even at his advanced age is Drew Doughty.
Yeah, Drew Doughty's still kicking strong at 38 years of age or however old he is. So credit to him.
We've got a few more pack cards here before we get to Jared's WrestleMania pack, WWE packs. We've got an AIM bots here. This is a cool one of Jared McCann with the Seattle Kraken.
Yeah, I would not rule out Seattle trading him this offseason, by the way. I feel like they probably would have done it at the deadline if they got an offer good enough. And so that might be something that gets revisited here in the next couple months.
Got an Olin Zellweger Young Guns card. Definitely better than Graham Clark in the previous pack. We'll take that. And then
also better than Renee Zellweger. So there you go.
10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, Renee had the edge. Now it's Olin. And now we've got two more cards here. We got Logan Cooley, breaking news series there, pictured with the Coyotes, of course, now with Utah. We'll finally find out their name, I would assume, at some point during the playoffs or off season, even though we all know it's going to be Mammoth.
I really hope they go for the unconventional route and they just stick with Utah Hockey Club. I know it's not going to happen, but I really want it to happen.
And we have a gaming co-op here. Could be the last time Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner are pictured on a card together, but there it is.
Yeah, I doubt that. Very NBA Jam-esque card there with Austin and Mitch, but they're going to keep Mitch Marner. They're going to keep building the team around at least three very high-priced forwards, and it hasn't worked so far, but maybe it'll work like the ninth time they try it.
All right, so there we go. We've got your hockey fix for the Stanley Cup playoffs kicking off on Saturday or dropping the puck on Saturday. Now I believe it's time to do a little WrestleMania discussion here. Jared, which one are we going with first?
I'm going to do the 2021 first because I only have the one pack of that, and we can go through it pretty quickly. And we'll go through some quick facts with some of the cards here. Let's see. Bianca Belair, who we mentioned, she's on the cover of one of the other packs. One of the most athletic performers in the WWE. Let's see. Sami Zayn winning the Intercontinental Championship, so that was a pretty cool moment that's commemorated there. Our guy, because he's very involved with the whole fantasy sports aspects. Mike the Miz, Mizanin, here delivering the Skull Crushing finale to somebody. I can't really tell who that is. But yeah, credit to Miz, who turn out from real world star to a 20-year WWE career. So shout out to him.
I've booked a studio or two for him in his day.
Yeah, and I've never met him or dealt with him personally, but I bet he's a really swell guy. Bailey, one of the top female wrestlers in WWE today. Big E, who unfortunately suffered what is probably going to be a career-ending neck injury. So hopefully he has a long and prosperous post-wrestling career. Natalia, the daughter of Jim the Anvil Neidhart. So that's an old school name for you.
That's a name I recognize.
And last but not least, the great white Sheamus, who is very Irish and very pale and very ginger.
There you go. It's he definitely fits the part there. Now I know for WrestleMania this weekend, while John Cena this is his last WrestleMania, it's not his last event, but it is his last WrestleMania. How big a deal is that?
So I mentioned before, I don't think it's a very good WrestleMania card, but I think the two main event matches are very compelling for very different reasons. And since you mentioned John Cena, he's going to be in the main event on night 2 going against Cody Rhodes for the championship. There's a lot of interesting dynamics there. For starters, because it's going to be Cena's last WrestleMania, he's going for the championship. He's tied with Ric Flair for the most world championship reigns. So we seem to think he's going to get that record at some point in the next year. So there's a very good chance it might be this Sunday. He's going against Cody Rhodes, who, and that's the other thing too, is Cena turned heel for this. And Cena hasn't been a bad guy for basically his entire career. You know, when he first broke in, he was a bad guy, but for the most part, he's been like that white meat, like face of the company, babyface the entire time. And now he's going up against the guy who's currently in that John Cena-esque role with Cody Rhodes, who's been, the top babyface in the company since he returned a couple of years ago, and he's held the championship for a year. So it's a very interesting match. I really hope that and it's funny. I've never been a huge Cena guy, but I really hope that Cena wins because I think it's just a more interesting story. I always think it's more interesting when the good guy is chasing the bad guy for the title, and I think that story just writes itself, and you can extend that feud for another couple months, and then Cody can win it back from Cena. It's like Cena can get his moment at WrestleMania, his final WrestleMania, and then maybe at like SummerSlam, Cena returns the favor and Cody wins the championship, and then they find something interesting for Cena to do over the last 4 months or so before he finally retires and spends the rest of his career making movies.
Good career for Cena.
Yep. All right. So the first pack of the 2025 Chrome packs. Let's see. Austin Theory. We don't have to talk much about Austin Theory. Nobody cares. We got a legend here, and it actually says WWE Legends on it. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Big fans of Dwayne on this show.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you talk about wrestling legends. I mean, I don't want to throw the Mount Rushmore question of wrestling, but I mean, he would have to get heavy consideration on it, I would imagine.
Yep. Let's see. We have Asuka, who I think is on a bit of a hiatus right now.
On tour with Slipknot?
I guess she wears very interesting like mask choices and whatnot, but that does look very Slipknot-esque. So like that. We have a couple people I've never heard of, which means they're probably in NXT. That was my other concern with these cards. Is the last time we did a whole bunch of WWE cards, it was a lot of people in NXT who I wasn't very familiar with, and like we have like Javier Bernal. I don't know who that is. Tavion Heights. I don't know who that is.
Cool shot.
Yeah, I mean they're cool action shots and whatnot, but like I just don't know who these people are. So maybe it'll be a rookie card or something. I can put it away and we can have some fun with that. Let's see. Chelsea Green, who's very entertaining and married to Matt Cardona, who does the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. So she she's but she's currently I think the women's US champion or something. She's very talented and very entertaining. A legend here, Rey Mysterio. I'm sure you've heard of Rey.
I remember from the N64 video game, Rey Mysterio.
There you go. And Ray will be on this WrestleMania card. He's going up against El Grande Americano, whoever that is.
The big American? The big American with a Spanish name.
El Grande Americano. I'm just reading the card as I see it on the screen here.
That's quite the name.
That's how he's built. And and last but not least, since we mentioned John Cena, it's a pretty cool shot here. The Time Is Now card with John. So you got that one. And we got one more pack here.
Nice. Enjoying the wrestling here as we get ready for a big weekend in the sports world. We'll even do the starting lineup figure 5 today is going to be basketball. So we even have that. So there we go.
I might ask if it's anyone. I might burn a question now and bring it back.
It's not Sean Kemp or Chris Mullen. We'll take them off the table right now.
Oh, thank God. Another legend here, Mankind. One of the 3 faces of Foley there. So, very cool shot there of him and Mr. Sacco. Let's see. These cards are, I don't want to say they're sticking together, but they're kind of like
minor bricking.
Yeah, I guess they're kind of tight in the package, I guess, for lack of a better term. R-Truth, who's been around forever. He came in as K-Quick back in like 2001, and like he's still going strong today. And I mean, he's like 50 years old, Ron Killings, but he's in phenomenal shape.
He's like Chris Chelios.
Yeah, probably not as decorated career as Chris Chelios. I'm trying to think of like another random like hockey player who was more of like a bit player, but played till he was like 47. So let me
Chelios, but not as good a career because Chelios obviously was a dominant defenseman for close to 20 years. So
right, and R-Truth is really more of like a mid-carder. I think he was the NWA champion when he left at one point. Zelina Vega with the Puerto Rican flag behind her. So it's a pretty cool shot of her. Let's see.
I would imagine with wrestling cards, it's tough to not have a really cool picture just because you have the opportunity, either a live action shot in the ring or the intro before they walk down, the aisle or whatever. I feel like there's a lot of opportunities for some nice shots.
They do a nice job in terms of how they present the product. And yeah, there's a lot of that there's so many different cameramen and different shots and whatnot that they can get where, it's tough to make anyone look bad unless like you actually look bad. Like if it was me trying to do it, yeah, every shot would look bad. But the way they did it, I think it works out here. All right, 2 more NXT people I haven't heard of. Luca Crispino. I'm not really sure who he is. He looks like a lawyer the way he's dressed up there. So maybe he's going to argue like immigration cases or something. I'm not really sure. And we have Tank Ledger. This is numbered 15 out of 199. I don't know anything about him other than I guess he was a college football standout. So that seems to be the move for a lot of like college football NFL players who don't quite make it in that field. There's a lot of them who are like, well, I'll give it a shot at wrestling. So you got that with like Roman Reigns. You got that with some of the other top guys, like I think Braun Breaker, who is Scott Steiner's kid, or Rick Steiner's kid. I forget which one.
I mean, Brian Bosworth probably would have been a great poster child for that had that trend been around back in his day.
Yep. Pretty cool family tree card here of husband and wife, the Miz and Maurice. So that's a pretty cool card there. It's almost like a medieval theme there, which I like that.
Oh, that's a put that one in a top loader for sure.
Yep. And 2 more quick ones real quick. Dante Chen, who I don't know anything about. I guess he's from Singapore, so there's that. And last but not least, one of the top women in pro wrestling today, Jade Cargill, who you would not want to mess with because just look at that physique. You you do not want to mess with this woman.
No, I would dress her as ma'am all the time. Well, maybe she won't want that. Maybe that'll make her feel too old. Whatever I'm whatever I got to do to keep her happy. It's fine.
Exactly. But Overall, pretty solid pack. And like we talked about the main event there. I did want to talk briefly about the other main event that interests me is the main event of night one, Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, triple threat match. And that one is just interesting. Like just the story they've told, you know, Roman's been the top guy there forever. And, you know, the interesting wrinkle is, CM Punk helped Roman Reigns back at Survivor Series by doing quote unquote doing Paul Heyman a favor by being a part of that match and helping Roman Reigns' team won. And Paul Heyman's been a long time wise man counsel for Roman Reigns. So the favor that CM Punk got for doing that is now CM Punk is going to have Paul Heyman in his corner. It's just it's one of those things you have to watch wrestling to understand the story and understand everything I'm talking about. But like in terms of like wrestling stories and like long-term storytelling, it's about as compelling as you can get between like the three of them.
Well, I hope the matches deliver, or actually, no, I hope I don't, because I'd rather you angry and have something to complain about for next week's show. So I hope one goes the way you want, and I hope one makes you angry. That's what I'm rooting for.
I'm fine with whatever happens. I'm long past the point of actually caring about the results of wrestling. I just want to be entertained.
To me, the only wrestling major that I would still, randomly watch is Royal Rumble, because that to me is just fun. Like I don't have to know the storylines to enjoy that event,
And it's an easy concept to understand. There's 30 people in the ring. They come down at 90-second intervals. You toss them over the top rope, and whoever the last man standing is wins the match.
All right. So we got one more pack to go before we get to the figure five and say farewell on this edition of RipNRiff. You're right. I'm not going to put the gum in my mouth because I don't like that shade of pink. So it's not, that looks a little too faded for me. Usually I don't love the old cards, but the design on these, it's kind of pretty cool. It's cool because they incorporate the team colors and stuff. So we got, let's see here. We got Ruben Mays of the New Orleans Saints. Then we've got a 1,000-yard receiving club here for Drew Hill, part of the Houston Oilers. We'll call it the, what was it? The K, not the K gun, the run and shoot there that they used to run down in Houston. K gun is what Jim Kelly did.
Now, in 1988, was that still the 14-game schedule, or were they at 16 by then? I'm gonna have to look this up.
Look that up. I don't know, but they might have still been 14 at that point. We got Fred Young from the Seahawks. Oh, here's a good one. We got Bernie Kosar. Browns quarterback.
Games. It was 16 games, and the year before was 15 games. So that's back when actually having 1,000 yards actually meant something.
Yeah, that was back when you earned your 1,000 yards for sure. Let's see. We got Paul Langford here with the Miami Dolphins. Mark Wilson with the Raiders. I had two of these packs, and I think I picked the wrong one. Dalton Hilliard for the Saints. All right, no, okay. Now here's one. May he rest in peace. But Hall of Famer, one of the best defensive ends of all time, Mr. Reggie White.
There you go.
We'll take that. Let's see. We got Dave Dewerson here with the Bears. Shout out Bill Zimmerman. Mark Malone, who's a Steelers quarterback for a while and an analyst. We got Mike Horan with the Denver Broncos. Finally, just a few more to go here before we get to the figure five and get out of here. We got one of the more fun kicker names to say, Tony Zendejas. Looking like he looks like he just made a kick there. He looks pretty happy. He probably nailed like a 38-yarder or something right down the pipes right after that one.
Shout out to him.
We got Lionel James, the old school Chargers look there. Darryl Clack of the Dallas Cowboys. Kelly Goodburn of the Kansas City Chiefs. And last but not least, one of the better running backs of the late 80s. Looking like he's talking to a coach on the sideline there, getting some tips, Mr. Ernest Biner.
Yeah, pretty cool pack there. And that's interesting how they decide who goes into these packs, because I bet you when you start ripping the pack, you're disappointed that you see like a random punter in there and some other players you haven't heard of. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, here's Reggie White. Here's Ernest Biner. Here's some pretty good players from that era.
Now, I'm going to say for my candidates for pull of the day, we got to have that Reggie White in there. Got to have that in there. For me, I would also say, let's see, the Jack Hughes over the New York City landscape, despite obviously playing for the New Jersey Devils. And I'll say the gaming co-op there with the Maple Leafs. And the Olin Zellweger Anaheim Ducks young gun could turn into something we shall see. What about you?
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna go with three of my wrestling cards here. Just because it's numbered. The Tank Ledger card of 15 out of 199 there, even though there's, it's like a glossy refractor, but other than that, there's not really anything special about it. I was kind of hoping there'd be an autograph or something, but we didn't get that. The John Cena Time Is Now card, I think it's just a pretty cool card and kind of represents John Cena pretty well. And my actual nominee will be the Family Tree card of a husband and wife, Miz and Maurice.
I'm gonna go with yours because that's a cool card. It's WrestleMania weekend, and yeah, you'll get to take poll of the day today. So nice job, Jack. Good job. Very happy, very proud of you. Now it's time for the starting lineup, figure 5 here. And like I said, today we haven't really talked any basketball today, but it is NBA playoffs this week, and we got the final 2 playing games coming here to round out the final spots there. It's time to talk a little basketball here for the figure 5. You got 5 guesses or 5 questions, and then you get to guess. I've already revealed it is not Sean Kemp or Chris Mullin. So with that, you may ask your first question.
All right, this is going to be a very specific card, and I don't know if you're going to be able to answer this without referencing Wikipedia, but I'm going to just go ahead and ask the question. Has this wrestler ever been involved in a professional wrestling angle?
Has the basketball player ever been involved in an angle?
Correct. That's what I meant to ask.
No. I don't recall that he has. I can't imagine he was, but let me just Google the player's name. WWF. I almost said who it was, and that would have just blown the whole segment.
You'll have to do WCW as well.
Okay, so no connection to WWF, and I'm just making sure he didn't do anything with Sting the old days. No. So there's no connection at least.
All right, very good. So that rules out Dennis Rodman and Karl Malone, who were both involved with wrestling at one point or another. Is this basketball player in the Hall of Fame?
He is in the Hall.
All right. Definitely a more conventional question there. Is this player a NBA champion?
He was not a champion, but he got to the finals twice in a tough era to win one.
Was this player teammates with the player that I just mentioned, Karl Malone?
Yes. 2 degrees of separation. Yes.
Is it John Stockton?
It is John Stockton. There we go. Good job. You didn't even need all the questions today. Look at that. Ding, ding, ding. Good job. Yes, when you said Karl Malone, like my eyes peeked up. I'm like, okay, well, it's 2 degrees of separation, but he got there anyway. And
by the way, I think got to a third final because he was on the Lakers, and I think he was on that Lakers team that lost to the Pistons in 2004, if I remember.
He's a complete Utah Jazz, according to Basketball Reference, from 1984 all the way to 2003.
Did Karl Malone play for the Lakers?
Played for the Lakers, but Stockton didn't.
No, but that's what I meant, though. But yes. Oh, okay, that's right, because you mentioned, this is for Stockton. This isn't for Malone. Yeah, Malone played in another NBA Finals with.
Correct. Malone played with the Lakers.
Yeah, Stockton was a career Jazz.
Career Jazz all the way through. One of the best alums out of Gonzaga. There he is, getting ready to do one of the things he does best, shoot the ball. He was more of a passer. I'm going to get rid of the rip cam here because it'll be better on this camera. There he is. And did you like the purple and yellow Utah Jazz look or the one with the mountains better? This was cool for like the mid to late 90s.
That's a very mid to late 90s look. I like that look.
And the card here got a John Stockton Topps card where this was the era where they just leached onto like whoever they made a deal with and then just slapped their logo on it. Starting lineup there. Driving the lane on what appears to be, I can't see who that is, a Dallas Maverick there. Good for him. And yeah, Stockton, 9-time assist champion, 11-time All-NBA, 10-time All-NBA, 5-time All-Defensive Player. Also the MVP in the 1992-93 All-Star game. Pretty good career there for Mr. John Stockton. Guess what he's doing? He's going to be joining the starting lineup figure 5 next week. We got all hockey this week. Joe Pavelski got out of the box last week in that 2018 promo run they did. But then you see there, I decided to go with American hockey legends. You got Joe Pavelski. You may as well get him up there with guys like Brian Leach, Mike Modano, and Jeremy Roenick.
Yeah, they are all certainly American legends. So that advertising is fitting.
Also, just while we're talking about the Sharks for a quick second there, shout out Logan Couture, who announced his official retirement, even though we kind of knew it was coming. Issues with his hips, nothing, can't overcome that sometimes.
Yeah, I was disappointed to see that. But hey, I mean, the Sharks are finished with the league's worst record, so they're going to have the best odds to once again get the #1 pick this year. So they're going to add another really good prospect to what they're already building out there. So.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Sharks. I mean, I don't know if they're a playoff team next year, but maybe they can kind of be in a similar boat to the Blue Jackets where they're hanging around, or the Flames to like the last couple of games next year. I think that would be a big step in the right direction, and maybe the playoffs the following year for San Jose.
I think it's so tough for young teams to take that step and make the playoffs, because it really just depends on like how good are your elite young players. So that's going to involve like Celebrini taking a huge step, and Celebrini was really good this year. He might win the Calder, but it will involve him taking a huge step. It'll involve some of the other young guys there, like the Will Smiths and the guy I can't think of right now,
William Eklund, who is
William Eklund, not Luke Hughes, William Eklund, the guy, it's not like there. I don't want.
William Eklund is a great all-around player. If he continues to develop, he's going to be a key part of that. And I think the one thing the Sharks do have going for them, despite all the losing this year, A, the losses weren't nearly as embarrassing as last year, but 2, they got the vibes factor. Team, despite the losing, the team seems happy, joking around with each other. Like they've got the right approach. It wasn't that, it was the opposite of what Connor Bedard was experiencing in Chicago this year. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and they seem to have a decent mix of veterans in there as well, and guys who've been there, like the Tyler Toffoli's of the world. I didn't love that Tyler Toffoli contract, but I think he's a good guy for them to have in that room for what they're trying to do. So, and they got a few guys like that, like Alex Wenberg and Goodrow, and Vlasic's still there, and we'll see if like Vinny Desharnais and some of those guys, I guess.
They've got plenty of talent coming up, too, that we'll see. In the Barracuda, their AHL team going to the playoffs. It'll be fun to watch them and see how some of these younger guys maybe get some postseason experience at a younger level. Don't forget, you can email the show, ripandriff@gmail.com. Plenty of more hockey conversation coming up later today with Anthony Rivera and Christopher Merez at AntRivera86, at FuzzyChris91. Be previewing every series there. That'll be fun. What do we got coming up on allaboutthejersey.com for you?
Well, we're gonna do a lot of playoff stuff, obviously, with the series against Carolina coming up here. So I don't get to write the series preview, which is fine. I don't need to do the deep dive in that. Let John or whoever else runs the site take care of that. But I'm sure I'll have something on Wednesday to react to, because I think Game 2 is on Tuesday. So I'm sure I'll write something to react to the first 2 games of the series, depending on however they go. So we shall see.
And apparently Jared is like 9 months ahead on his poker shorts. So be ready for those to roll out.
I'm 2 weeks ahead. I'm 2 weeks out. But yes, I have shorts scheduled for the next 2 weeks. I did record a whole bunch of voiceover for shorts for like the next 5 weeks. So I still have some work to do to actually get that far out. But yes, we are in good shape there.
There we go. Make sure you check all that stuff out. And of course, Rip and Riff on XN YouTube for all of the, we drop shorts, all the fun stuff. We appreciate you watching cards and ripping some packs with us. And, hey, reach out to the show, ripandriff@gmail.com. But for @Mr. Jared Moore, I am at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. Back with you next week with an all new episode of Rip and Riff here on the Rip and Riff YouTube channel.